Hi, I'm Dr. Elliot Adam from ElliotOracle.com, and I just wanted to take a moment to do a little video on the current state of affairs in the world right now. I was meaning to do this video really in the last couple of weeks, but unfortunately I've been in the process of moving and scrambling to get all of my things out of Chicago in time. So luckily I've landed. I'm safe and okay in my new space. But I really did want to talk to all of you about what's going on, because it really is affecting us all. And when we are dealing with these really difficult, scary, challenging times, there is a little remedy that we can all use that our ancestors came up with to overcome some of the challenges that are in front of us. And that is symbolism. If we can look at our fears through the lens of symbolism, we can start to understand them and gain some distance from them so they're not so frightening. And the symbolism is also a call to arms to reconnect to the deeper part of yourself at this time. And collectively, as a species right now, we have all grown to a halt. We are all adjusting to changing circumstances, and there is a lot of uncertainty. And that's the exact purpose of tarot, or of symbolism, or of mythic consciousness, as I like to call it. And so, when bad things happen that you really had nothing to do with, it isn't your fault, but there it is. How do you deal with that? Well, the tarot gives us some symbols that really help us with that. And in the last few weeks, I've been really thinking about some specific cards in particular that really talk about these issues that we're dealing with. The first card is the Devil card. Who doesn't feel, powerless right now, like you're chained up, that there's this big, amorphous, dark, scary thing going on, and that you are somehow at its mercy. You can see the figures on the Devil card are chained up, and the Devil is the symbol for the shadow self, the inner saboteur. I like to say that everybody's got a little devil on their shoulder and everyone's got an angel on their shoulder. Everyone's got that voice that's all light and love and spirit and everything's, rainbows. And then everyone also has those fears and those anxieties and those things that really freak us out. And the devil symbol is showing those two corrupted forms of the man and the woman who are chained to the devil's throne. And the chains that they're wearing are really loose if you look closely. And what this symbolizes is that fear is really a choice, or submitting to your inner saboteur or your inner shadow or your inner dark side or the negative voice within is really your choice. And you get to choose when you want to shut that voice off and when you want to move forward, and when you want to submit to it and just sit in hell for a little while. The Devil card is also symbolizing, with the Devil's hand outstretched there, you can see that symbol for Saturn is inscribed on the Devil's hand. And that's indicating that there's also some important lessons that we are learning through the most challenging times or through the darkest cards. It's not the easy times of life that are going to really, prove to the world what a magnificent human being you are. It's our challenging times that really will make us step up to the plate, make some personal transformations, and make some choices that are going to bring out the best in us. And really right now you do have a choice whether you're going to listen to your better angels right now, or if you're going to listen to the shadow too much. And so one thing I will say is turn off the news. If you are watching the news for more than 2 hours a day, that's too much. There is a really nice, I shouldn't say nice, but there's a really big fearful, tenor kind of going on through the news. It's important to be informed. But if you want to be informed, go to cdc.gov and figure out what the experts are saying about the current illness and coronavirus and precautions you can take. And maybe watch 1 or 2 hours a day of your favorite news or your favorite commentator or the one who's going to really bring you facts. But then turn it off and then put some of that energy back into yourself again. The second card that really, I think this is really affecting us on is the Tower card. And right now we're in a collective Tower moment. The prisoners in the Tower are now being set free. I'm against their will. They're all plummeting to the earth. But the Tower represents a state of denial. And the Tower represents artificial things that we put in our lives that separate us from reality. And the figures of the Tower were prisoners of their own making. They were stuck in their heads. They were stuck in their own universes. And they were just thinking of their own self-interest. And what we're dealing with right now is a fact of the matter that as a species, as an Earth, it is not sustainable for each of us to just selfishly be doing our own thing and not really thinking about how it affects other people. And also to be so entrenched in our own camps for what we believe our views are that we're dismissing like whole swaths of people. And the tower always represents that universal wake-up call, that universal lightning bolt, that spirit or God or the universe is always going to hurtle at us when we're getting too far away from reality. And if you even look look at the last couple years leading up to this crisis, you would see that there is sort of a state of denial that everybody's in. They're more detached, they're more in their phones, they're more disconnected from their neighbors or from their fellow human beings. It's been easier to label or name call or cast blame at other folks. And that tower card is saying it's time to come back to reality. And the tower hurts. It's not easy to go through. It hurts to have your tower go through calamitous changes and you're hurtling back to earth. But once the tower falls, you can start to rebuild a new structure. And the tower is a card that comes up right after the devil card. It's 15 and then 16. And then it leads to 17, which is actually the star card, which we're going to get into in a moment. But the tower card is just one that basically is saying that it's time to come back to reality. And collectively we're doing that, but also on an individual level, each one of us is doing this. We're all needing to come back home to our nature. That's what the people symbolized or symbolize as falling toward the earth represent. The earth is nature. It's your true nature. And the tower is artifice. It's things we build up in our heads that keep us separated from everything else and feeling that we're on an island. And here's the rub. Right now you may feel through social distancing that you are alone, that you are on an island, that you are doing your own thing. But in actuality, we as a collective are all in this together. And so there is a sense that there is a need to bring our A game to the fore and to really allow ourselves to be our best and not to give into the fear, but to give into a sense of, well, you know what, that tower was crumbling down anyway, and it's time to let it go. It's time to just finally let that get swept aside, and let's see where we're at, and let's build something stronger for ourselves. And that leads to the third card, which is the Star. And here's the reassurance in the major arcana of the tarot. Major arcana represents major events, things that are going on internally, things that are happening in your heart. We've just gone through the Devil and the Tower. But next in the sequence, after those dark cards, is that return of hope again. It's the Star card. The woman on the Star card is taking care of herself. She's pouring some of that water from that universal healing pool on her own life, to heal her own life, to heal her own fear. But you can see she's also giving some of that water back. She's pouring some of herself back into the collective. The Star shows us how to get out of that negative spiral of reacting to trauma and difficulties, and it all comes back to service. Not only taking from the universe in its best parts and really refilling or replenishing our own spirit, but also pouring something back of ourselves into the collective to make it better. So whatever you can do in your own individual way to uplift the spirits of other people, or to donate money if you can, or to show kindness. The Star is saying if you pay it forward, you are going to be in alignment with your higher nature and your highest wisdom. And then finally, I just want to show one more archetype, which is the Strength card. And the woman on the Strength card is a symbol for your higher self. And the lion is a representation for those things that feel out of control or unruly at this time. The woman in the card is the higher self, and it's time to align with whatever your higher self is guiding you to do at this time. You notice that the woman is not beating up the lion, which represents her fears or unruly things. She's gently taming it. And so each day, it's important to tame the lion through really good choices and good decisions, and really deciding to let your higher self address the situation at hand through getting more information and just letting your best self take the lead. And I just want to say too that this isn't the end of the world. This will pass, and all of you need to take a deep breath and reconnect with your inner selves at this time. This is a wonderful opportunity to really check back within. If you enjoyed this, please visit elliotoracle.com and check me out there. Otherwise, I will be back to my regular readings this week.